This video is intended for viewers aged 13 and up. If you are not 13 yet, please leave. Hello everybody and welcome to the Figure Review. And I can't believe it, but they just announced that there's going to finally be a new Madoka movie. I don't know, I'm super excited. It may be a finale, it may be a continuation that ends in another cliffhanger. Who cares? I'm really excited. And in celebration of that fact, we are going to look at the s.h.figuarts Kamen writer Gaim? Wait, what? This isn't what we discussed. We discussed that we'd look over a Gen Urobuchi Product. What do you mean? I get it now. Oh, I get why Gen couldn't continue Madoka until now. Well, no need to elaborate any more on that. For those of you not in the know, after Kamen Rider Wizard appeared from the ether or whatever, Toei tapped Gen Urobuchi to help write and guide the next installment in the seminal tokusatsu franchise. I haven't seen the show yet, I am planning on doing it, but I've heard it's pretty good. Though people were initially worried, not because of the writing staff, but because of the theme of the series. Fruit. People thought, how could they make a fruit-themed series? It suit look good. Well, they did, and really well too. Which is why we're reviewing this figure right now. Speaking of the figure, the painting and the sculpting on this figure look freaking great. While overall his proportions do seem a bit thinner than his on-screen appearance, it's overall holds up pretty well. Every detail to make this look nice and screen accurate is there and accounted for. And yeah, I mean, I guess he does look like an orange. I'm more here for the samurai aspect. For the armor being made out of a giant floating orange. It looks freaking great. Design-wise, at least. But hey, let's look a bit closer, shall we? Looking at his head, helmet? I don't know, whatever I should call it. It looks really cool. Its design is good, but we're here to talk about the figure itself. The crest on the head has a nice gold paint job, with that little red gem in the center, which looks great. It does have a nub mark on the top, which is a bit annoying, but it isn't too noticeable. In fact, every detail is properly marked out with paint. I especially love the visor. It's able to have the buggy pattern that's iconic to Kamen Riders, presumably due to some multi-layered sculpting. It also does the same trick from Optimus Prime from last time, where the transparent plastic is able to pop thanks to some silver paint under it. There's actually a bunch of silver paint on his head, which looks great overall. The back of the head shows the orange gimmick from the show. It looks like a samurai helmet with orange bumps. They even painted this little green bit at the top. It looks really good. The samurai bit does limit articulation, though, but we'll get there when we get there. The torso brings us to some interesting aspects. First off, I love how all the silver is painted that goes under the orange armor. This is a trait of all of these little armor bits. The armor is full of cool details that might not be etched into modern releases. Mainly in some areas, but we'll get there. The orange detail still looks great. The metallics look nice. And there are some nice rivets here in the middle, which aren't shown up too well on camera, but The shoulder pads connect in an interesting way that not many may like, especially compared to how they're done in modern day. But I think works. There are hinges at hinges here. From what I can tell, this is pretty accurate to the show, and they don't get too in the way of total articulation. Again, we'll get there when we get there. There are also these soft plastic tufts that are a bit weird, but it's fine. The orange chest plate can also slightly wiggle, as you can see here, but that's mainly to help it get out of the way in articulation. The blue here isn't as nice or as beautiful as the orange. any of the other beautiful metallic paints, but it's a pretty pleasing color in contrast to the orange. I also love the pattern here on the lower torso. Kind of the cross-hatched, whatever. It's just so interesting. I think it works very well, all things considered. For his back, I can say a lot of the same, but with a bit less orange. You can see it, they painted it where it should be, mainly right there, hiding in the back. Which is one thing I love about the whole figure. They didn't have to paint these inner details that result from the way that the orange folds over the chest in the show. However, it does, and it's super cool that it does. All the other paint still looks great. I still love the green dot, but most of what was said about his front can also be said about his back. So, yeah. His arms are pretty plain, all things considered. There is some nice sculpted detail in the lining in the upper bicep that makes it just a bit more premium, but most of the detail comes from the lower arms. Swivel right. The feather-like gold lines are super clean, with not much paint slap here. It's just super clean all overall. This gold quality goes up to the back elbow pads here, which look cool. The gauntlets keep that cool gold as well, which goes down to all of the hands, which we'll go over later. They have cool gold plates and nice dots from said gold. Next up, we're going to look at the belt. Now, in most figures, the belt wouldn't really be as necessary to go over. However, for riders, it is the main way that they transform. It's super necessary to get the belt right. And as such, let me just say, this is one of the best s.h.figuarts belts that I own. You can see the little face here on the side, like in the show. The little sword has a ton of details that look great. It has all the details it needs. The black, the silver, and the green. Now, one of my favorite bits here is the lock seed. It's given a pair of decals which stay pretty strongly stuck there. These ain't Power of the Primes decals, let me tell you. It looks great. Way better than the modern henshin devices on modern baseline Figuarts. The green for the belt, or yellow, whatever, it looks like it does in the show, as well as the DX toys as well, with a sheath for the sword, as well as a holder for closed lock seeds, which can hold the included closed orange lock seed, which we will get to in a moment. My hips are probably the least favorite part of the design for me. They went with this ball design, and thankfully it keeps the articulation unlike other balls I've seen, but it looks a bit unnatural. Honestly, the most unnatural part of the whole design. The lining and the etching on these parts still look great. It's just, they look weird. The upper legs still have the cool lining from the lower arms. The gold on the knee pads also looks great, and the knee pads do pop out, which, at least on my copy. That might just be age, though. The shin pad isn't as good as the gold lining, but it does look simple and good, and the gold paint looks relatively clean. His feet are a bit plain, all things considered, but if we look at the feet, they are full of nice design and detail, including the show's logo. Neat. I do overall think this figure looks amazing. Maybe it's just the metallic paint, but this figure stands out in my collection, especially compared to the main rider Figuarts of the rider from the season prior, the original wizard mold. Like what happened there? The good thing they made a Cinco Chosejo of that. I don't think this rider needs one, at least yet. Give us a common rider birth first. Come on, Bandai. Give me what I want. However, now that we get to accessories, here's where I come into a few issues. Not with the accessories themselves, but with the hand peg. I think this might be an issue with age. This figure is at least 6 years old, and I only bought it like just now. But my right hand peg tends to pop in half when I try to swap hands. Again, I think that this is an age thing, but be careful when you're buying this thing. For accessories, now we're speaking about them, let's start with hands, which he comes with a decent plethora to give you a variety of poses. Out of the box, he comes with a pair of fists, a pair of cool action hands that can also hold a closed lock seed. He also comes with a series of gripping hands, including your basic sword holders, a pair of trigger finger hands for the gun sword, And finally, a kind of open pinching hand, which is able to hold on to the belt sword, which allows him to actually henshin, which is pretty cool. Speaking of previous accessories, he comes with an orange lock seed. It's nice and small, and it has a nice little bit of printed detail, which is kind of hard to see given that my camera won't zoom farther in without it going all weird. It goes out of focus if I zoom in too far. But yeah, it looks nice. It's very well done. However, his final accessories are his swords, which I can't remember the names of, so we're just gonna call them Gun Sword and Orange Slice. Woo! The gun sword looks pretty cool, if a bit basic. It's full of nice paint all over, and it has a nice little decal right here on the gun part, which makes it look very nice. Overall, there's full of nice gold paint and silver lining, and it looks very nice. It has a little open slot here, which allows you to take your open lock seed from the belt and place it right there, as it does in the show, which looks very cool. I mean, I guess the open lock seed kind of counts as an accessory, but yeah, whatever. The orange slice looks like an orange slice, which is a good thing. I mean, the orange metallics still look very nice, and this little kind of clear cover looks very orange-like. The green hilt looks beautiful, and as well as this little bit of silver at the bottom. You can also see this bit of silver here, which allows you to take the gun sword and plug them into each other for a little bit of Darth Maul action if you don't knock out the lock seed from the gun first. One thing I annoyingly forgot to mention in the script is that both of these hands are able to fit into any of the normal gripping hands very smoothly but like very strongly. There's really not going to be many issues with holding the swords here. You just need to make sure you get them in first. And I like to keep them in because it's like his iconic thing is that he's got the dual wielding swords. So yeah, and they fit very well. They ain't gonna fall out like the lock seed might. And something I forgot to mention is that you are able to sheath the sword like so, well, probably more like this, in his side sheath, which works pretty well. It's not the greatest grip, but it kind of works. I'd rather keep it in his hand though, so he's nice and action ready. Now that's all for accessories, and they are good. They help with nice, cool, expressive poses, but I kind of hope that he would come with a little bit more. Maybe another lock seed, maybe some more hands. I haven't seen the show, so I don't know any more he could come with other than some more expressive hands. But maybe the pineapple lock seed, I don't know. But they are functional. They all do what they need to do, except for the hand pick. But again, that might be a me problem, QC-wise. Now, as for articulation, he is a very well-articulated figure. He comes with your standard s.h.figuarts double neck peg. It is limited in the back due to the design. However, it works very well. It is very expressive. It's able to look up that far, down that far, look, slightly tilt, and it's able to move all the way around, and it's able to swivel all the way around. Each shoulder pad is on a hinge and doesn't get in the way of the arm articulation that much. Speaking of the arms, they're on this kind of rolling ball joint technology, which allows him to roll his shoulders and kind of acts as a pseudo-butterfly joint. It works fine, but it's not great. It's not ideal. They hinge up to 90 degrees, and they can swivel all the way around, though the little feathered bits here at the front do kind of get in the way, but they are soft plastic, so it's not too much of an issue. There is a bicep swivel. There is a double hinge at the elbow. That doesn't get up all the way. The hand peg is able to swivel, it's able to move up and down, and you can do the usual manipulation so it can move side to side, which is very nicely done indeed. The torso is on a pair of ball joints, which allows it to arc back, to crunch, able to move side to side, and it's kind of able to swivel, but it does stop itself somewhat. It kind of sucks, but it can't be helped. The belt sword is able to swivel up and down, which makes it fully featured, which is very cool. It's one nice little bit that I just love about this. The hip ball joints are pretty functional. They allow them to kick forward not super far back because of the butt sculpting, and they're able to hinge out, though if you go too far, they will pop off the little belt side armament things. The knee bend is on a double knee bend, but I do wish it went a little bit further. He also has a thigh swivel, which, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. And his feet joints are on swivels. They allow his feet to move up and down pretty well. And they have a ankle rocker, which I wish was a little bit more, but is pretty good. And he also has a toe bend, which is nice to see. But yeah, other than the ankle pivots, he is able to move very, very well. Way more than a lot of other figures that I own. And it also feels very good and solid as well. I use it mainly for swordsman poses, and they look very good, but he can pull off many other stances, which includes a nice, iconic rider kit. All in all, he's a decent size, though he is small, especially compared to domestics. You know? Here he is with some Marvel Legends, some Star Wars Black Series figures, some Transformers, some Power Rangers, some Kamen Rider model kits, and finally, some more Kamen Rider s.h.figuarts, both Sinkocho Seiho and normal. Now, like the show's concept and in its designs, this figure pleasantly surprised me. It looks cool, it poses very well, and has very fun accessories. From what I can tell, it does the show justice, design-wise. I love me some good samurai designs, and I hate oranges, but this might make me an orange fan. I'm definitely at least going to go watch the show. If you want the figure, it is a bit old, so try and track it down for a decent deal, but if you think it's cool, pick it up. But yeah, that's all I've got. I do recommend this figure. If you would like, do the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. If you want more Kamen Rider content, because, yeah, I want to do more Kamen Rider content. I'll probably do it no matter what you say, but if you want more, like, comment, subscribe. And next time we're going to do something a little bit special, I guess. Whatever. See you next time. Bye-bye.